Hello friends, welcome once again. Now, I conduct this full psychological test assessment wherein 12 TAT pictures are shown, 60 WAT, 60 SRT and the SD to be written in 50 minutes. And the assessment weightage for these are 70%, 10%, 10% and 10%. Now you understand, having gone through the AFOSOP videos, that if your TAT goes wrong, everything is gone because that's the basic test. And those who wish to go through the full psychological test assessment, you can contact me on this number 9090099035 and you will get complete clarity. Now, based on my assessment experience with the full psychological test assessment, there are certain common and very repetitive mistakes that are listed out in one of the videos. Jiska naam hai 30 major and common mistake that must be avoided while writing TAT responses. If you've not already seen this video, I request you to watch it. The link, I'll share it in the description box. Now, one of the very common mistake that is observed is very poor observational skills by the candidate. What does it mean is, observational skill refers to the ability to use your five sense perceptions to recognize, analyze, and recall your surrounding. In case of TAT, the sense perception that you use your eyes, and you have to observe the picture in the given 30 seconds. But there is a serious problem in the way you observe. आप partial observation करते हो या observation में already biases है because of various inputs from different sources. तो उसे ठीक करना जरूरी है. Now, observation is the very first step that connects the world outside to the world inside. और आप लोगों ने अगर SML के क्लासेस अटेंड किए या वीडियो देखा है, उसमें मैं एक स्टेटमेंट बोलता हूं that if you can manage the world inside us, we can manage the world outside us. But when the input itself is not correctly fed inside the inner world, how will we manage the world inside us? Because हमारे sense perception से हम world outside का information को world inside तक ले जाते टाइम ही गलती कर रहे हैं. Now, self management leadership के बारे में अगर आप क्लासेस के बारे में ज्यादा जानकारी चाहते हो ऑनलाइन and offline, you can again contact me on this number 9090099035, and I'll get back to you. Now, if you look at this model, the stimulus has to be first observed using your eyes, and then after the eyes observe it correctly, it takes to the brain where the internal processing happens. That's where your mansa या आप कैसे सोचते हो वो आता है. So अगर observation ही गलत हो गया तो stimulus का identification गलत हो जाएगा. अगर identification गलत हो जाएगा तो situation की understanding गलत हो जाएगा, and situation की understanding गलत हो जाएगा तो what led to the situation गलत हो जाएगा, what is currently happening गलत हो जाएगा, and what is the final outcome गलत हो जाएगा. And अगर ये पूरा process ही internal process ही गलत हो गया, then the response which you write on the paper using the English language, वो response भी गलत हो जाएगा. And psychological test में एक कहावत है, there has to be a consistency between the stimulus presented and the response given by the candidate. और ये तभी होगा when the stimulus is correctly perceived. So it is very important that this is corrected, and that's where the importance of self-management leadership. एक कहावत है, what is the use of having eyes when the mind is blind? So इस वीडियो में उस blindness of the mind को ठीक करने का एक प्रयास मैं करूंगा. So what I'll do in this video is, I'll present you with 12 TAT pictures, last one blank, and each picture I'll give you 30 seconds to observe as it is given. One additional step that I'll do is, I will assist you to focus on the picture and help you observe the picture correctly so that the stimulus picture is taken into the world inside correctly. And thereafter, SML ka concept, if you can manage the world inside you, you can manage the world outside you. तो इस पिक्चर को मैं correctly आपके आंखों के द्वारा आपके ब्रेन तक ले जाने में मदद करूंगा. So this is what I'll do. Each of these 12 pictures, after you go through the 30-second observation, I will describe it so that you can focus and you can see how much of the variance is there in the way you observed it, and I am assisting you to do that. उससे क्या हो जाएगा, ये picture आपके brain के अंदर correctly feed हो जाएगा. Thereafter, the mental process or the inner process, you can always see it, and then we can see how much is the variance in the way you were observing and I made you do. और उसके ऊपर मुझे comment लिख के जरूर बताना. And once I do this, you will get normal 4 minutes to write your response, and the response has to be written in 3 parts: what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome. Now मैंने पिछले वीडियो में बताया था what led to the situation से पहले what is the situation बहुत क्लियरली पता होना चाहिए, and that's where your observation comes and the perception comes, जिसे कि मैं इस वीडियो में क्लियर करूंगा for all the 12 pictures. And once you finish with the 12 pictures, please post your comment और मुझे बताना कि इस ऑब्जर्वेशन के क्लियर होने से आपके बहुत सारे जो मिथ्स आपके दिमाग में बैठे हुए या कोचिंग का या यूट्यूब वीडियो के थ्रू जो मिसकंसेप्शन गए, क्या वो क्लियर हुआ या नहीं है. एंड उसके अलावा इफ एनी वन ऑफ यू वांट्स टू गो थ्रू द कंप्लीट असेसमेंट ऑफ द 12 TAD पिक्चर along with the 60 WAT, 60 SRT and SD, you can contact me on this number and you will get 500% clarity. So if you're ready, I'll present you with the first picture. Observe the picture for 20 seconds. Thereafter, don't start writing. I'll introduce you to the entire picture my way. I'll assist you to perceive it. Thereafter, I'll give you 4 minutes separately to write it. So if you're ready, this is the first picture. Okay, if you look at this picture carefully, you can see there are 2 characters, one male and one female, both of them in their early 20s, probably 22, 23, in that bracket. The male is formally dressed. He's wearing a trouser, shoes and a full shirt, well groomed, and the girl is wearing a top जिसमें half sleeves है. There are frills on the sleeves and on the bottom. She's wearing a trouser kind of a thing which has again got frills below. She's wearing a slipper. Her hairs are bob cut, small, है ना, and she has उसका बंद गला पहना हुआ है, and she's crying. Her right hand is closer to her eyes. The boy is standing very close to the girl, indicating that the girl and the boy knew each other. They are not strangers. The left hand of the boy is probably holding the right hand of the girl, or maybe he's touching at the back of the female. That shows that there is certain degree of comfort between these 2 characters. They appear to be standing in a park. You can see there is a big tree trunk behind the boy. You can see the leaves above his head. Next to the boy there is a plant, probably with flowers. Similarly, at the extreme bottom right corner next to the girl, again there are some plants, some flower kind of thing. Immediately behind the girl there appears to be a fountain which is active right now. You can see the circular rim of the fountain, the water probably flowing. Behind you can see a concrete building, a small building, not definitely hut, a cemented structure, not very big but a small structure. And behind you can see there is cloud. So when psychologists ask you what led to the situation, essentially the psychologist wants to know who is this girl, who is this boy, what is their relationship, why this girl in her early 20s or whatever age that you perceive is crying in front of this boy, what is the reason because of which this girl is crying, and why this girl has to cry here in the park in open, and who is this boy with whom she is sharing her issues. This girl is in early 20s, so the reason for her crying has to be appropriate to that. it cannot be simply कि एग्जाम में फेल हो गया, because then it becomes age inappropriate behavior. The proximity of the boy to the girl indicates that they know each other. The question is, where is this boy coming from? Why they met here in the park? There's so many things to be understood. And the second part, what is currently happening, depending upon whether you're male or female, and having understood the problem, nature of problem because of which this girl is crying, what likely actions or the problem solving step collectively they're going to take, and in the last part, where will this problem end? What is the final outcome? These are the input that we want to understand from you. And having seen this, we'll like to see what kind of a character qualities are being reflected by both the characters and the main character who is going to handle this issue once the situation is clearly spelled out. So we'll see all these things in your individual responses, and then we have a discussion on that. Okay, if you carefully observe this picture, you can see this is a official setting. You can see a board where managing director is written. On the door you can see a round cut through which you can peep into the room. There are two characters in this. There is a young male, probably in his late 20s or 25, 28, whatever bracket. He is wearing a coat, a trouser, fully dressed, मतलब coat and suit पे है वो. He is carrying a briefcase and he is standing in front of the lady who is sitting on an office chair, revolving office chair. You can see a telephone in front of her, a tray, a pen stand and a couple of files behind her at the level of her head. So since the managing director board is outside, so she probably is the personal secretary or the personal assistant to the managing director. And since this lady is sitting and talking to the man in the front with a finger pointed towards her, that means this person is not likely to be the managing director in most probability, because if he was the managing director, she would have stood up and speaking rather than being sitting and speaking. So the most likely thing that can happen is the managing director is already inside the room and this person has probably come and already has an appointment or seeking an appointment to go and meet the managing director. And there is a conversation that is happening currently between the person seen in the picture and the lady sitting on the chair. So when the psychologist asks you what led to the situation, what is currently happening and what is the final outcome, the psychologist wants to know who is this person in coat and suit with briefcase. He appears to be not a youngster who is just out of the college. He appears to be in a position. Why has he come to meet the managing director? What is the current communication that is happening between the lady who is wearing a sari, a blouse, hairs are nicely, done, and this well-dressed man in the front? What is the current communication that's happening? What was the purpose of his visit? And what is the end? So we'd like to know why this man has to visit this office and what is the current communication that is happening. This is definitely not a fresh interview going on for a college fresher, because of the way he is dressed. He appears to be in a position of certain degree of authority. So these are the details that we will like to know. So let's see who has got it correct. If you look at this picture carefully, you can see it is a forested area, thick forested area, and if you observe carefully, there is an elephant seen in this picture. The back of the elephant is to the right of the picture. The hind leg with the tail is clearly visible. There is a rope going below the tail, and if you observe carefully, the rope is probably tied to the saddle which is on top of the elephant, on the back of the elephant. The front of the elephant is not clearly visible because it is covered in the forest. Only the hind leg and the tail is very clearly visible, and a rope going below the tail. And if you observe a little more sharply, you can see there is a person sitting on top of the elephant. He's facing backward, that is, his face is facing to the right of the picture, whereas the elephant's head is moving to the left of the picture. This person is wearing a hat, probably white. You can, if you observe, you can see the hairs between his hat and the collar of his shirt. If you observe clearly, you can pinpoint the nose, you can pinpoint the eyes, you can see his chin, you can see his neck, the shirt, the outline of the shirt, both from the back and the front, hands folded, is wearing a full shirt, and then on the saddle you can see the color changes from white to black. That's where the trouser starts, and he is sitting with folded legs. You can see the right leg. You can also see a white spot between the elephant and his folded legs, and then you can also see part socks and the shoe. The left leg is not visible, which is on the other side, and is looking backwards. And since he is looking backward, there has to be at least one person who is looking in the forward direction, and rest everything is, majority is dark here, indicating thick jungle. There are scattered white patches which are showing the sky through the jungle or the trees. So let's see how many of you got it correct. And the psychologist, when he asked what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome, definitely the psychologist wants to know, where is this elephant going, what is it doing in the jungle, why this person sitting in the back looking backwards, and what is the event that they are going to encounter, they are presently encountered, and what action they will take based on whatever the incident they encounter, and what will be the final outcome. Many people in this picture write story about organizing picnic after the college or the company break. You go, you have vacation, so you go there, book a ticket, ये करते हो, वो करते हो, and then last में आके elephant ride करते हो. That's not the way it has to be handled. And many people miss the elephant, or many people are able to identify the elephant but miss the man. So they all have to be identified. So let's see what have you observed and how you handle it. If you observe this picture consists of two people, one male to the left and one female to the right. Both of them are probably, they had a conflict sometime back, and currently they are upset with each other. Slight anger is also there. Communication is broken. They're sitting probably on a sofa, but each one looking on the other side, and a hand has been used to hold your head, and there is certain degree of frustration and anger for each other. The scene is in personal setting. This I'm concluding because of the way they have dressed. You can see the male is wearing a round neck t-shirt probably. Lowers are not clearly visible, and he's using his right hand to hold his head and is looking in the left direction, whereas the female is looking in the right direction. She is also holding a head using a left hand. She is also probably wearing a V-neck t-shirt. So professional setting. The location is not visible, but from the dress and the way they are sitting, it can be concluded that it has to be in a personal setting. It can be home or it can be a hotel where both of them there. So when the psychologist asks you what led to the situation, what is currently happening, what is the final outcome, he expects you to identify the mood. Both of them are negatively, the mood is negative. They have a conflict which is still not resolved. So we like to know what is the nature of conflict. And they had a fight little before, and the fight ended into this situation. So we like to know how this situation is overcome by whoever is the central character, whether the male or the female. We like to know the reason for conflict and the way you have resolved your conflict, and the relationship between these two. The safest relationship between these two people under the present expressed emotion is husband and wife, because that's the safest. The mood, both of them are right now in the negative mood. So both negative has to be clearly appreciated. Instead of making one person upset, the other person trying to console. In that case, there will be an emotional mismatch between what is presented and what you are writing. So let's see what led to the situation, what is currently happening, what is the final outcome. In case if any one of you made it into a professional setting, you're gone wrong because you missed the clothes they are wearing. And in an official setting, this kind of a sitting between a colleague or two colleagues, or maybe a male and a female colleague, will be inappropriate and will raise more questions. So let's see how have you handled it. If you observe this picture clearly, this indicates a accident situation on a road in which a cyclist is involved, who is right now in the mid-air. He has toppled over the cycle and he is falling down. The accident is still happening. The boy has not even fallen down. You can clearly see there are 3 books at least clearly visible, one next to the back tire, one in the front, and one it's still falling. The cycle has been hit by a bus. You can see the driver and a co-passenger, and you can also see one person standing in the bus, probably holding the railing on the top. The bus has a registration number, probably DLP4122 or 77, whatever. On top, Red Fort is written, 5 bus number, DL and Red Fort. It indicates a most likely place will be Delhi, because Red Fort is in Delhi and DL probably would be the Delhi number. And if you see to the right of the bus, you can see there are 2 boys coming. The boys are wearing half shirt and trousers. They are walking alongside the bus on the footpath. You can see the footpath where the boy is going to fall down. The cycle is in the process of falling. The seat part is already down. The front part has to go down. And if you see to the left of the picture, there is a scooter. There is a scooterist, a male, probably in his mid-30s, and there is a female whose hairs are nicely tied up. She's wearing a blouse and probably a sari, and you can see she's holding the male at the stomach level. You can see her hand. The male is wearing striped shirt, full sleeve. The female is dressed properly. Her hairs are nicely tied, and the way the scooter is appearing, it is right now in parallel to the cycle that has met with the accident, and he is moving. The bus would have hit him. The fault can be of the bus, the fault can be of the cyclist. Those things are to be established, and we want to see how would you define this accident, what led to the situation, then how do you handle it, what is currently happening, and what will be the final outcome after having done all those things. So we'll like to see how do you handle this accident situation. If you look at this picture carefully, you can see there are two characters, one male and one female. Age probably in the 30s, early 30s or mid 30s. The proximity in the body language conveys that they are closely related, and most suitable relation that comes in mind is a husband and wife. Mood, both of them very happy, so mood positive. You can see the husband's or the male's hand is over the shoulders of the lady. The lady is with her hairs open. She is wearing probably a t-shirt kind of a top. The male is also wearing a t-shirt with collar, half bow. Both of them are smiling. Their expressions are very satisfying, very comfortable. Behind you can see a couple of photo frames, and the way they are sitting, this has to be in a personal setting, home setting. So we'd like to know what led to the situation, why these two people are so happy, and if they're happy, that indicates their life is going as per whatever they want. They appear to be very satisfied. So it's a neutral picture. So this picture by itself does not create any stress in you. So we want to see how do you respond in no stress situation. How do you respond in no stress situation? And in the process, we'll try to see when you are not subjected to pressure, how does your brain respond. So we'll see that, and then we'll see what is expected and what's coming out. In this picture, if you observe carefully, there are two characters. One male who is on the motorcycle. He is wearing a mask. He is wearing a shirt and a trouser. The shirt probably is folded, half folded. He is covering his nose and the face. His eyes are visible. He is holding the motorcycle using his left hand, and his right hand is extended towards the girl in the fist form, probably snatching the chain. The girl is wearing a top, kurta kind of a thing, 3/4 sleeve, below a trouser or a jeans. And right now, if you observe her expression, her mouth is wide open, and probably body language shows that she is in a state of shock. That means whatever she is currently experiencing was not contemplated by her. She was not prepared for that, and suddenly it happened, and she is in a state of shock and surprise what is happening. The male has covered his mouth probably to hide his identity. He is more prepared for this act, and most likely after he gets a chain, or even if he does not get the chain, he will be moving forward at a very high speed. He is in an aggressive mood. He would not like to be caught. Even if he does not get the chain is fine, but he will not like to get caught, because if he gets caught, there will be consequences. The girl is so much in a state of shock that her ability to respond to the situation will be very, very minimal, because by the time she gets to know what has happened, it will be another 5-10 seconds. And by then this motorcycle would have left this place and moved forward almost 60-70 meters ahead. This incident cannot happen in a crowded place, because in a crowded place this man will have problem in executing this and running away from there. So it has to happen in a less crowded place, so that his ability to get away from that possibility remains. So let us see, how do you explain what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what will be the final outcome. If you observe this picture clearly, you can see this is probably a flooded area in which there is one person who is on the right side of the picture, little lower than the middle of the picture. It's not understood clearly whether it's a male or a female. The hands probably are folded, and below his knees, it's not visible. There is a shiny patch and there is a dark patch. Shiny patch indicates sunlight falling on the water. The dark patch indicates the shadow of the trees which are on top. If you look to the left of the person, you can see a submerged car. Probably up to the tires, the car is in the water. You can see the front bonnet part. The right side is shining. You can see the left part of the screen. The right part is appearing to be dark. In the left part, you can see a white patch. There are a couple of black strips on top. You can also see the roof of the car because of those white patches, and you can see the back portion of the car which is merging into the water where it is covered till the tires. If you look right above the car, you can see a coconut tree ka leaf. You can see the split leaves hanging towards the center of the picture. Below the leaves, you can see two wires, probably electric wire. So coconut tree, if you see the top of the coconut tree, on the back of the coconut tree there's another tree, probably again another coconut tree, whatever. The top is all covered with lot of trees. So probably it appears to be a street which is flooded. There's a submerged car, there's a person moving along with that. So it's a street which is flooded. The flood has already happened. The flood has happened. The damage must have already happened. Things are appearing to be stable right now. Stable in the sense, stabilized flood. There's not too much of movement of people. There's only one person seen in the picture. There is no mass movement of people, which normally happens when the flood has just come. Currently, it's not raining, but water is there. And this man is going somewhere, and there's a car to the side. So let's see what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome. So this picture is slightly difficult in terms of identification. Let's see how many of you got it correct and how you handled it. if you look at this picture carefully, you can see there are two characters in this picture. One male who is inside the room. He has got big hairs, wearing a shirt, and who's looking at the girl who is on the outside of the room with her left leg inside the room through the window. She is not wearing any slippers or shoes. She is wearing a top, half sleeves, one hand on the window, base of the window. That's the right hand. The left hand folded and holding the frame. She is not right now entering, but she is still there. Still, she is looking at the boy, and the boy is looking at the girl. The window is open. There are no net or no iron bar, no grills. The window, one pane of the window is open inward. You can see there are 3 glass panels. Behind the window, behind the girl, you can see there is a tree, big tree, maybe 1 or 2 on the other side of the tree which is visible. But you can see a tree behind her. Inside the room, this young man, you can see a table, probably a study table that has got a table lamp, probably a book or something on the extreme right. Above the lamp shade, you can see a photo frame with some photograph on that. And we would like to know, who is this girl? Who is this boy? What is the relationship between both of them? Why this girl is putting her leg through the window? If she is trying to come in, why is she trying to come in? If she was attempting to go out, we'll like to know why she was going out. If she was coming in, why she was not coming in from the front door? What is the current communication that is happening between the girl and the boy? And because the girl is also in her 20s, the boy also in his mid-20s, what was the reason for this young girl in her 20s to enter through this window in the stated relationship and the stated conditions? That's what we would like to know. What led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome. So let's see, how do you explain this? if you observe this picture, you can see a stretcher on which there is a dead body. Not understood whether it's a male body or a female body, but looking at the length of the body, definitely it has to be a grown-up adult person, fully covered through white cloth. The stretcher is clearly seen. The stretcher is being pushed by a nurse. She is wearing a nursing cap. She is wearing a nursing skirt and a shoe, and she's pushing the stretcher forward. Right behind and alongside, there is a male who's wearing a shirt, full shirt, trouser, shoes, formally dressed, head looking downwards and walking alongside and slightly behind the nurse. The existence of nurse in the stretcher and the dead body, you can with reasonable accuracy, you can arrive at the conclusion that this scene is in the hospital. And this dead body is being shifted from place A to place B. So when I ask you what led to the situation, what is currently happening, what is the final outcome, I'd like to know, who is this person, whose body is this? What is the relationship between the man at the back and to the body? Where is this body right now being taken by the nurse? And whatever is the relationship that you establish between the male and the dead body, how do you handle it? Depending upon what relationship and under what condition this death has happened, and what is the role of the nurse? Is it simply shifting or there is an active involvement? We will like to know, because she's after all doing a professional job, shifting the body from place A to place B. She may not be directly part of it, but in case if she has a role to play, you can explain that. And we'd like to see, how did this loss created the disturbance in the life of the person concerned, and how did he handle it? What led to the situation? What is currently happening? And what is the final outcome? This picture, if you see, this is slightly difficult, and unless you observe it very, very carefully, you may not get the details accurately. If you carefully observe this picture, this is a car that has probably met with an accident from the front. The right side, you can see, complete structure is tilted from the right side. If you look carefully, you can see at the bottom the bumper, probably the name plate is also there, number plate is also there. The white portion on which there are 3 dots, that's probably the bonnet part. The black trapezium kind of a structure is the windshield. On top of the windshield is the roof, and to the right, which is inclining from the roof to the right side, is probably the windscreen or the windows on the right. In the front left corner, you can see the left headlight. The right side is damaged, and probably there are a couple of people around it. So it's a car that has met with an accident. How has it got met with an accident? It is difficult to make out because there are only one vehicle right now seen, and this picture is showing the car from the front. As you take it from the front, standing between both the headlamps. Difficult picture. Let's see how many of you got it correct. So what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome. Last picture is a blank picture. Nothing is shown in the screen. So you have the liberty of choosing whatever picture that you want to choose and write it in whatever fashion you want to write. So we will not talk about much in the blank slide right now, but we'll take it once you finish with this. So मुझे जरूर कमेंट लिख के बताना, having gone through these 12 pictures along with the assisted observation, what difference did you find? And comment लिख के बताना so that once I get adequate comments, I'll take it to the next part of this entire sequence of bringing clarity in the way you approach the psychological test. इसके अलावा AFOSOP का ऑफलाइन, ऑनलाइन and hybrid classes are available. Those who wish to register, the number you to contact is 90900990 835. Kindly share this information with friends. 500% clarity is guaranteed. And in case you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, kindly subscribe to it, press the bell icon, and do share with the friends. And for any assistance, you can call me on the given number. And thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you very much.